Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's podcast, I'm joined by a very special guest from the Holy Cross women's hockey team. Carly Beniek joins the show today. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Carly, and how's everything going?
Doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I really appreciate it. Now, the season ended a couple of months ago. What have you been up to since the season last ended?
Pretty much just school and a little bit of work, getting ready for the school well, I'm done with school now, so that's good. But pretty much just school, hanging out with teammates and friends, enjoying the non-hockey season life.
That's good. That's good. How's school been like, especially since it's all online this year?
I was actually very lucky that I had two classes online or in person this semester. So I was able to be in class, was really nice. But last semester was very tough being completely online.
Yeah, no, I kind of like the online format because it makes my life a little more convenient for scheduling. However, I think you don't get that when you don't get that face-to-face interaction with the professor. I think it's hard to get something out of the class. And I've I feel like I've been trying to teach myself more than learning the material, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. Plus, I get very distracted
Hmm.
when I'm online with just everything in my room or on my phone. So I'm glad that I'm in person and forced to pay attention.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. How have you dealt with the Zoom breakout rooms? Because that's something that I can't stand.
Oh, it's so awkward.
Hmm.
It's like everyone, we talk for about 5 minutes and then everyone turns their camera off. It's so awkward.
Hmm.
I try to like make small talk and be like, oh, where are you living? Or what's your
Yeah.
major or something, but it doesn't go very far.
Yeah, no, especially when you have to get some work done for participation grade and it's just no one's talking in the Zoom breakout room. It's very awkward. I had one interaction where someone was just typing on their chat thing because their microphone wasn't working. So I was basically talking to myself throughout this entire breakout room. So that was probably the most awkward experience that I've ever had.
Yeah, that's very strange. I wouldn't like that at all.
Now, what are your off-season plans regarding hockey and what do you hope to work on regarding your game for next year?
Yeah, so I'll just be, doing some skills stuff, skating around and training a lot. I think the biggest thing I want to work on is getting my speed and endurance up. Um, do that with like sprints and stuff, but especially being the center, I'd really need to get endurance up and playing more, being on like the penalty kill. I just definitely need to work on my endurance and my shot too. I'll work on that this summer.
Now, do you plan on staying in Holy Cross or do you go back to Minnesota to train?
I'm gonna go back to Minnesota to train, be with my family, and spend some time with them since it's been a while since I've seen them.
Yeah, and how'd you deal with being far away from home this year in this unusual season because you really couldn't go back to visit your family? There wasn't any fans in the stands. How'd you like mentally deal with being far away from your family for a long time?
Yeah, it was definitely very tough, like being stuck here for Christmas and New Year's, but we did lots of FaceTimes, lots of Zooms. My roommate lives really close, so her family took me in and had me for Christmas, which was really nice.
That's awesome. Well, I
Yeah.
want to transition and start off this podcast talking about the beginning of your hockey career and working it all the way up to where you are now with Holy Cross. So you're from Minnesota, like I just mentioned earlier. How'd you start playing hockey and falling in love with the sport?
It was actually my brother. He played hockey, so I had to follow in his footsteps and play hockey also. And then as soon as I stepped on the ice, just fell in love with it. And obviously, I wanted to do everything my brother was doing, and he kept doing it, so I kept doing it.
Nice. And who was your favorite player growing up?
Ooh, Sidney Crosby, and Sidney Crosby still is my favorite player, as cliche as it sounds.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on his attempted Michigan goal he tried out? I think it was a few months ago.
Oh, I did not see it, but I'll have to look it up.
Oh,
Um,
he didn't score, but he attempted to do it, and it was pretty cool. And I said if he actually scored that goal, it probably would have broken the internet.
I'll have to look it up. That'd be
Yeah,
really cool.
definitely.
Maybe I'll have to do it later.
Maybe in the playoff game. I think that'll be more fun to see.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, are you excited for the NHL playoffs? It starts
Yeah.
tonight. I'm rooting for my Bruins, but I don't know who you're a fan of.
I'm a fan of the Wild. They're doing really well this season, so I'm really excited.
That's
I think
awesome.
I
That's
think they could
awesome.
make it.
They can
I don't
definitely make
want
it
to
out of the
jinx it.
West. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that, but I definitely think they can make it out of the West for sure.
Hmm.
Now, before Holy Cross, you played for Breck School, which is a high school hockey powerhouse in Minnesota. Describe your time there and what was that like for yourself?
Oh my gosh, it was. so much fun, so amazing. Getting to play with like all the Zumwinkle sisters, that was really cool, and getting to learn from Grace and Anna. And then, you know, having Emmy there with me. But it was just a really cool experience. I mean, we obviously did really well, which was fun. And playing with Olivia Mobley and Ali Quali, my senior year, we were on a line. That was the highlight of my career. That was really fun.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to ask you, what's it like playing with Grace Sumwinkle in high school, and what was she like as a teammate, both on and off the ice?
She's such a sweet, she's so nice. She'll literally do anything for you. She's an amazing player and she always pushes you to do better, which was really nice to have in the hockey season.
Now, when you look back at your time at Breck, what's your favorite memory overall?
Ooh, probably winning the state high school tournament. My senior year was probably more fun, but also junior year was fun because of the hockey hair thing.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to ask you about that a little bit later on, but how did playing for Breck help prepare you for college hockey with Holy Cross?
Well, playing with Breck, there are many Division One players that are like going to play Division One, so it really pushed me to become better and to be a better player. And it also like the change from Breck hockey to Holy Cross wasn't that much of a difference because I was playing at the like high speed, high level.
Yeah, and what's the Minnesota high school hockey scene like, and what's it like being a player in that atmosphere? Because I've seen the YouTube clips of the state tournament at the XL Center. It's pretty awesome to see. And being from New England, it's kind of hard to understand just how big the high school hockey scene is.
Yeah, it's insane. It is so much fun playing high school hockey just because you play with the like some people in the summertime on the same team, but then they're all on different teams in the Twin Cities, so it's super fun to get to play them and like hit them a little bit during the game. And then the Minnesota State tournament is like so fun to play in, and it's been a dream since I was little to play. So I'm glad I got to be in it. Obviously, the girls doesn't get as fun as the guys, but it's really fun to go to the guys tournament too.
Is it weird talking to some of your teammates now just about that high school hockey scene because they might not get it like myself?
Yeah, it is. Well, they I like don't understand it. Like, well, I'll talk with Kaylee or Grace Johnson about it, and people will be like, "Oh, Minnesota hockey." They're like, "Yeah, yeah, it's
Now,
really
one thing we have to talk about is you were voted having the best hair in Minnesota your junior year. You got the nickname Rapuxel. How does it feel to have the best hair in the state of
fun."
Minnesota?
Oh, it's a true honor. It was incredible. It was really fun getting to. I don't know. It was fun to have like a little bit of attention after that, and I actually wrote my college essay about it and my senior speech. So glad I had the opportunity.
Did you plan on doing that? Because I saw the highlight reel where you just went on the ice and did the hair flip, and you normally see it with a lot of the boys hockey players, but you never really see it with the girls hockey players. So it was pretty cool for myself to see that.
Yeah. Well, when we got to the state tournament, I'm like, I want to be the first girl on it. I'm gonna flip my hair. And then when we first, so that you're not on the TV in the quarterfinals, you're on in the semifinals. So in the locker room, we were like practicing what I was gonna do. We decided pull my hair out of the ponytail and then flip it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, what was your recruitment process like, and what made you want to go to Holy Cross?
The recruitment process was long and tiring and challenging, but when I found out Holy Cross was going to Division One, I immediately reached out to Coach Katie and Coach Van Buskirk, who isn't at Holy Cross anymore, and I talked to them, sent them some video, sent them when my games were, and then I think I came out here for a tournament or something and reached out and asked for a tour, met the coaches, and as soon as I stepped on campus, I fell in love. It's a beautiful campus, and also they have really good academics here for what I want to do. So that's why I decided to come.
Yeah, and just talk about Coach LaChapelle and what's it like playing under her, and what has she taught you about the game so far in your first 2 years in college hockey?
Yeah, I love Coach LaChapelle. She's so great. She's caring. She works us hard, but we have fun sometimes. She's really taught me to be more confident. I think with the puck, I think that was the biggest thing I needed to work on coming into college hockey, and we've worked on that a lot.
Now, Holy Cross is a very new Division One women's hockey program. Talk about being a player in the early process of building a D1 program, and where do you see Holy Cross in the future in the next 4 to 5 years after you graduate?
Yeah, I think it's um, great to be on a new program because each year you build history. Like last year, we made our first weekend sweep and our first series sweep, and this is the first year we made it to playoffs. So it's just awesome to each year we get to build even more and make more history. Like next year, let's hope we make it past the quarterfinals of playoffs, which I'm assuming we will. But I see some really great improvements coming in the coming years for lacrosse.
Yeah, what was the biggest adjustment you had to make to college hockey? Was it the speed of the game or just the mental side of the game since you're making quicker decisions with the puck?
Yeah, definitely the speed of the game and like a little bit of the physicality too, because you're playing with Canadians and Europeans. So definitely the speed and the physicality and also quick decisions for sure.
Now, in your freshman year, you mentioned this before, you got your first ever weekend sweep against Vermont. Talk about that weekend series and what it meant to you and your team.
Oh my gosh, that was such a fun because I'm almost certain they were home games. So it was just really fun to go back in the locker room and have a dance party after. And it was really cool for our team. I think that was in like February something towards the end of the season. And it was already a hard season. We didn't win as many games, but being able to win that weekend sweep was really amazing.
Yeah, your team did not make the playoffs your freshman season. How did you use that? How did you use not making the playoffs as motivation heading into your sophomore season this past year?
Yeah, I mean, we just needed to work a lot harder. And we knew that our goal was to make playoffs. And we wanted to like do better, of course, but I think being in a pandemic year was a little bit more difficult. But I think next year we really got to keep the momentum going, and we'll use that next year.
Yeah, from the times I've watched your team play this past season, the one thing that's really stood out to me is the freshman class. Players like Via Graves and Lily Feeney have been really great offensive players for your team. What makes this class so special in your opinion, and how have you tried to help their transition into college hockey in this unusual year?
Well, one thing I think that makes this class so special is they came in on a pandemic year and when there was no one on campus, so they really got to bond with our team and we did a lot together in the fall. So we got to get really close to them. I played with Lily on my line pretty much the whole season, so I got to help her adjust to college hockey and just to academics and the school life. But the freshman class is amazing. Grace Johnson is hilarious. You can always look to her for a laugh. Millie's really good. She's always a good goal scorer, and same with Bryn. Vi's a good defense. I'm glad that she got out there after her hip injury. Now she's back.
Yeah, and you had to deal with a lot of challenges this past year because of the pandemic. How did you deal with all the challenges that your team faced, and especially with the schedule? Because there was a lot of postponements that happened to a lot of teams' schedule in Hockey East. So I guess what was the key for maintaining flexibility for this year?
It was just taking it day by day. I mean, like last night, I could have heard something, and then the next morning, it could be a totally different thing. So just always being flexible and yeah, always being flexible and watching out for Coach Katie's messages because they're coming often.
Yeah, and one thing I want to ask you was, since you don't know who you're going to play until the Tuesday before the weekend, how did that change your approach when it came to preparing for teams this year compared to your freshman season?
It was a little bit difficult because we wouldn't know who we were playing maybe that Monday, so we couldn't adjust what we were practicing. But it made us work harder on the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays when we would practice and go through film and everything.
Now, what was it like not playing in front of any fans this year, and how did you adjust to that?
It was very different. It was weird being in a quiet arena. I mean, the cardboard cutouts kind of did something a little bit, but not really. I knew people were watching at home, so I guess that's kind of what kept me going. But it was definitely strange.
Yeah, I
Hoping
was
next
gonna
year for fans.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about those cardboard cutouts because some players say they did make a difference, and other players say the cardboard cutouts they didn't really notice them. But in your opinion, what was your favorite cardboard cutout, and did you notice them at all?
Okay, my favorite cardboard cutout at Holy Cross was either Dr. Fauci, who was right in front, or any of the dogs, because I love looking at the dogs. But there was at the Boston College's arena, they had a section of just this one guy, like a whole section of this guy, and that was really funny to look at.
Now, 3-on-3 overtime was also introduced to college hockey this year. How did you adjust to that, having more space on the ice and having more offensive opportunities to score goals in those overtime situations?
Well, we only had one overtime, so I didn't get to experience it too much. But the one time we did, it was really nice to have that open ice and be able to skate the puck. And also, it was nice for practices because we could practice that, and it was actually good for our game instead of just like a fun little game.
Yeah, and do you have to be a little more defensively minded in those overtime situations? Because if you make one little defensive mistake, it can cause an odd man rush for the opponent.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely have to be more offensive or defensive. Sorry.
Now, you
Oh,
just came off your first ever Hockey East playoff game versus UNH. Even though you lost that game, what did you take away from that whole experience of playing in your first playoff game?
like the adrenaline, the momentum we had. I mean, even though we did lose, I think that was one of the best games we played all season. We gave it our all. We really worked hard. Um, I think next year we'll know what it's like to play in playoffs. Now we won't be as nervous, so that'll be good to have.
Now, how was playoff hockey different from regular season hockey, from your own opinion?
Um, just like I don't know how to word this, but the I can't think of the word, sorry. But just that, like, that could be your last game, and taking that with a grain of salt and being like, oh my gosh, we really have to work hard because in one period, this could be the last game, like, our seniors could ever play, or some people could ever play.
Now, I want to ask you about some of the teammates you get to play with on a consistent basis. One of those teammates is your goaltender, Jada Brennan. What's she like as a teammate, both on and off the ice? And just talk about how great of a goaltender she is for your team.
She is amazing. She saves us so many times. She's a great goaltender, and she's always talking to us on the ice, which is really helpful, letting us know where maybe a player that's coming late into the zone, she'll let us know. So that's really nice to have. She always pushes us to work harder during practices and during the games. Off the ice, she's such a great friend. She makes us laugh all the time. She's good. She's a good egg.
Now, you also get to play with Kaylee Langfels, who played for Minnetonka High School in the Minnesota high school hockey scene. What's she like as a teammate, both on and off the ice? And talk about playing with a rival in high school, now being teammates in college.
Yeah. Oh, well, I played with Kaylee since we were like 10 years old. So we've known each other for a while. So it's good to have a familiar face when we first got here. She's insane on the ice too. A wonderful defense. She's very offensive too, which is nice to have as a defense player. Um, she always pushes us to work harder, and you can always look to her for a laugh on the ice too. Off the ice, she's a great friend too. If with anything you need, she'll be there for you.
So we're now in a segment I like to call the non-hockey segment, where I ask you some non-hockey questions. My first question to you is, what is your favorite part about Worcester?
Oh, my favorite part about Worcester. The food. Like you can name any cuisine and it is in Worcester.
Hmm.
The food is amazing.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of good restaurants. It's hard to get to some of them though, because the driving in Worcester can be pretty tough. How have you adapted to that?
It's so difficult to drive here. It is like you just have to be like swerving around everyone, and the potholes are
Hmm.
insane here. But it's definitely an adjustment.
Now, if you could have lunch with anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
Living or dead,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She
Nice.
is an icon. Uh, yeah, I actually named my plant RBG.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's so cool. Now, what is your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, slow walkers. I cannot stand slow walkers. I have short legs. I'm not very tall, so I have to move my feet, move my legs a little bit faster than most people. So I like to get going, get to places sooner.
Yeah, mine's pretty similar. It's slow drivers. There's a few of them here in Massachusetts, and I'm assuming you're used to it. There's can be some pretty bad drivers sometimes. I think it might be because of the roads. Who knows? But yeah, no, that's what bothers me the most is just slow drivers, especially when you need to get somewhere quickly.
Yes, I have in my hometown. There are a lot of a lot of older people live in my hometown, so lots of slower drivers.
Now, you obviously have the best hair in Minnesota, but who has the best hair on the Holy Cross women's hockey team, in your opinion?
Oh my gosh, that's a really tough question. I'm trying to think of them all. I would probably just go with Jada. She has some really good curls. Yeah.
Who's the funniest teammate?
Grace Johnson. She is hilarious.
Now, you obviously have the best style on the team. That's not a debatable question. But besides yourself, who has the best style on the team?
Oh, I would either have to go with Kaylee or Mary Edmonds. They both have pretty good style.
What is your favorite class you take at Holy Cross?
My favorite class, I have a tie. Organic chemistry, and that's only because my professor is amazing and so funny. And then my second, or like my tie, would be macroeconomics, also because my professor is amazing.
I could not take any of those classes. I'm not the smartest person for chemistry. I took it junior year of high school and it was so hard. It took me I did a lot of studying just to pass some of those tests. It was pretty brutal to say the least.
Yes, you do have to study a ton for chemistry, but I would say my professor is one of the reasons I'm doing well.
Definitely, definitely. Teachers are the best, so I will agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Now, back to some hockey questions now. I want to get your opinion on this. The World Championships were scheduled to happen this month. Unfortunately, they were canceled and rescheduled to August. What were your thoughts on that entire situation overall?
Yeah, it was just very disappointing because these women work so hard. They work probably harder than the men just because there aren't so many opportunities for them. So it was very disappointing to hear that a couple days before the tournament that it was canceled when they were all prepared to go.
Now, what should be done to help grow women's hockey, in your opinion, since you've been involved with the game for so long?
Yeah, I would say there needs to be like more opportunities for us and we need more advocates. I think that the women who are like higher, like Hillary Knight or Kendall Coyne or any of them, they're doing a great job, but we need more people to do that. Maybe like that's the NHL players that need to advocate for women's hockey, or I don't know, but we need more voices about it.
Definitely. And what advice would you give a younger player who's trying to pursue a Division I college hockey scholarship?
I would say, just work hard and have fun. Like hockey's supposed to be fun, but at the same time, you really need to work hard and work on the things that coaches may tell you that need to work on instead of just being like, oh, I don't need to work on that. They're just lying. Like actually work hard and um, be persistent too. Like if someone says, oh, you're not good enough for D1, like that does not mean you're not good enough. You can still make it.
Now, do you have any shout outs you want to give to any of your teammates, family members, or friends? I kind of mentioned some of your teammates throughout this interview, but if there's anyone I forgot to mention, feel free to shout them out now.
Oh, I have so many people. I want to shout out the dudes. That's like Addie, Burton, Lily Delianitas, Annie Kuehl, Curry Patron, Kaylee. Um, I've grown up playing hockey with them. They're awesome. Also, shout out to my family for always supporting me in hockey, and shout out to my brother for getting me into hockey. Shout out to the Holy Cross women's ice hockey team. Like I love them all. They're all great teammates.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Carly. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day and coming on and chatting with me. I really appreciate it. I wish you all the best this off season, and hopefully I get to see your team play in person next year. I think that'll be awesome. But take care, stay safe, and I just want to let you know that you're one of my favorite players to watch on Holy Cross, and I think you're a great person and a great hockey player as well. So I just want to let you know that.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It was great talking to you too.
Now, one question I want to ask you, and